Do you ever worry about growing old? Do you have a fear of that? Well, I wonder where that comes from. Well, today we're talking about false beliefs and how to overcome false beliefs. So let's talk about growing old. So we've been interviewing people and asking them questions, and one of the questions that we ask people is, what is your greatest fear? And the reason that we ask that question is because oftentimes we allow our emotions to control us. And the other thing is that most of us have this desire to be happy. I mean, that's our natural state. And I think we all want to be happy. And the one thing, or one of the things that we teach here at Principle-Based Living is that we are in control of our emotions. But oftentimes, again, we're unaware of our thoughts and our beliefs. And so we have this belief that oftentimes something or someone else is causing the emotions that we're feeling. And so if I'm feeling this emotion of fear and I think that it's caused by someone or something else, then what's happening is I'm feeling like I'm out of control. And I'm giving, as long as I am in that kind of victim state where I'm blaming my emotion on someone else, now I'm disempowering myself because I don't have control over other people and I don't have control over circumstances or situations. One of the principles that we do talk about is the principle of control, which says I only have control over me, and there's only three things that I control: my conscious thoughts, my emotions, and my behavior. Everything else is influence. But of those three things, so I do have control over my emotions because my emotions come from my thoughts, and I have control over my conscious thoughts. So the question is, if I control my emotions and I get to choose what they are, why would I choose to feel the emotion of fear? And it has to come from our conditioning. So somewhere throughout our life, we've had experiences that we have learned that there must be some payoff or some benefit from feeling the emotion of fear. Otherwise, we wouldn't feel that emotion. So we need to kind of maybe slow things down a little bit. We need to move from the subconscious part of our brain to the conscious part of our brain. And if I'm in that place of feeling fear, I need to look around and say, okay, well, what's going on around me? What are my thoughts and beliefs about that that's creating this emotion? And now if I don't want to feel that emotion, I have to ask another question, which is, first of all, are my thoughts and beliefs true? If they're not true, then I could be willing to let them go and replace them with a different thought or belief, which would change my emotion. If my thoughts and beliefs are true, then the question I ask myself is, well, what can I do about it? What is there that I can change? And again, if I have a belief that I can change other people or other things, now I'm putting myself in a place of being out of control again because I'm trying to control something that I can't. And I may end up with results that I don't want, which may reinforce that belief of fear. But if I understand that I can't control that, I can only control me, and those three things that I can control, my thoughts, my emotions, and beliefs, if I focus on that, if I change my thinking, then things will change. If I change my thinking, my emotions will change. If I change my thinking, my behavior will change. And if I focus on what I have control over, well, then maybe I can do something about the situation. So let's talk specifically then about the fear of growing old. So why would a person be fearful of growing old? It has to do with our beliefs, right? And so if that's a fear that you have, I mean, I can't say what that fear may be for you, but it's important for you to look at it. I can look at myself and say, what might I be afraid about of growing old? And there are things, right? Like oftentimes as we start getting older, there are things that we wanted to do with our life that we haven't done. And so I may begin to feel fearful that I'm not going to be able to accomplish those things. It may be that as I'm getting older that my health begins to deteriorate. And so I begin to worry about, well, what's going to happen with my health? So all of those things, though, are things that are in the future that I don't know if they're going to happen or not happen. And one of the things to remember and realize about fear is always in the future. It's never in the present. So it's worrying about things that are outside of our control. If I understand that, and I understand I don't have control over things in the future, I only have control over me, then I can look at myself right now, in my life right now, and I can say, okay, so I'm afraid of not being able to accomplish certain things in my life. Well, what can I do right now to begin to accomplish those things? Well, maybe I have a belief that I'm too old, that the time has already passed. Well, that may be, or it may not be. You know, if I'm 57 years old and I had a goal of, playing basketball in the NBA or being a Major League Baseball player, yeah, it's probably not going to happen because that is something that I would have needed to do when I was much younger. So I need to then look at and say, well, why is that important to me? And then I can again get to the truth underneath that belief about why that's important. So maybe I would be getting my value from that because other people would think a certain way of me if I, was a professional athlete. Or maybe I've connected my value to accomplishing certain things instead of recognizing that I have value and accepting myself just for who I am. And if I really wanted to be a professional athlete, but I wasn't, well, there's a reason that I wasn't. And so I have to be able to accept myself and maybe forgive myself for the decisions and choices that I made in the past and realize that I made those decisions and choices based on who I was and where I was at the time. And maybe I needed those experiences to get me to where I am today. And now as a result of those past experiences, there may be some things that I can learn or that I can do now that will still ultimately give me the happiness, the success, the outcomes that I want in my life. So the other thing about growing old is we have no choice, right? We either live, and as we live from the day that we were born, we're growing older. The only other option is that we no longer live, so that we die. And then you have to look at, well, do I want to experience life or would I rather be dead? And, if you're at a place where you're saying, I don't think I want to experience life, then again, you can begin to ask yourself the questions, why? And in any situation where you find yourself with a negative thought or a negative belief or in a negative state, I can guarantee you that that is based on a false belief somewhere. So it may be down underneath some other beliefs and you may have to dig a little bit to find out what that belief is. But once you can correct that belief, then I don't care what your situation is. I don't care what your past or your history is. You have the ability to find happiness right now in the present. So this fear of growing old is really based on a false belief, because growing old is just part of life. And really it comes down to, what emotions do I want to experience? And how do I want to feel? And what do I want to do? Because again, there's something that I am getting out of choosing to feel that emotion of fear. And until I figure out what that is and correct that belief, then maybe I resolve that fear of getting old, but then it will probably pop up with some other fear because it's serving some purpose in my life. So I need to identify what is the purpose that feeling fear is giving me. And then I can ask if it's really working for me or not. And if I recognize that it's not working, then again, I'm going to dig down, find the false belief behind it, let go of that false belief, then look at what do I have control over, what do I not have control over, let go of the things that I don't have control over, and then get to work focusing on the things that I do have control over. So that's my challenge for you. If you struggle with the fear of growing old, then dig down underneath that. Find that false belief that's creating that emotion in your life. Find out what is the payoff that you're getting from that. Be willing to let it go and replace it with something that is in your self-interest that will really benefit you. And as you do that, you'll be able to experience more joy, more peace, and more happiness in your life. Thanks for watching. If you feel like fear is something that controls you in your life and you continue to struggle with that, well, if you're willing, I would encourage you to share with us in the comments below. Talk about the fears that you have and how fear is controlling you in your life, and we'll do what we can to help give you the information, the knowledge, the tools to overcome those fears. If you've had experiences of overcoming fears, especially by using some of the principles and tools that we talk about, we'll share that as well as a way to help others who may be watching. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel, ring the bell so that you get notifications of our new videos. And if you want to know more about who we are and what we do, visit our website at principlebasedliving.com. And if you're watching this on LinkedIn, be sure and follow me here.